When we do clinical trials, we always collect data on how patients do while they're on a clinical trial. And when we, at the end of the study, or even during the while the study is going on, we will often collect the data in an aggregated way for all the patients that are participating, and then at various time points, we'll analyze the data to see how effective it is. Once that happens, then if it's a study that's compared to standard of care, so in other words, if we have a new treatment, drug X, and we compare it to one we know is effective, and we find out that drug X is better than what was previously approved, then all of that data gets submitted to the FDA for review. And there's an expert panel that will review the data and to see if it looks like it's significantly better than what we would expect, what we'd otherwise expect with standard treatment. And in that case, then they might recommend to the FDA that we have FDA approval, and then it becomes part of standard of care. There are some circumstances in which the results from an earlier phase study that's not a randomized study compared to standard treatment, but if the results are so positive that it almost seems unfair to put somebody onto a randomized trial, they might approve. It sometimes can be submitted to the FDA for approval without having done that randomized trial. And there are a few examples in lung cancer that in recent years that have been like that. So there have been, in the development of ALK inhibitors for lung cancer, we have overwhelming data that using an ALK inhibitor in patients with ALK rearranged cancers looks so much better than what we would expect with standard chemotherapy, that it was FDA approved without having done that randomized clinical trial compared to chemotherapy. It's really important to realize that even though sometimes we get a glimpse that a treatment might be effective, it really is a very rigorous approach to make sure that what we're finding is really holds up over the long term. And so even though it might be frustrating that it takes so long to get a treatment approved so that it's widely available, the process is there to make sure that even if we see a positive result from an early study, that we know for sure that it is better than what's already existing, and that it also has to really meet very strong, rigorous criteria for helping patients not only live longer, but live better. And so part of the reason why we take our time with it is to make sure that what we're doing is correct. And we really have, there's many examples of drugs that have made it through phase 1, phase 2 testing and look really promising, and at the end of the day, turn out to not be better than standard of care. And so we really have to be very careful for most studies that we are rigorously looking at it to make sure that it is truly better than what we already have. So certainly most of the trials that are being done are being developed by drug companies. I think it's important to know that there are lots of checks and balances that are in place to ensure that the results of a clinical trial are robust and real. Part of what we do in academic medicine and in academic oncology is, we conduct the clinical trials on behalf of the sponsors, the drug companies, so that there is some level of objectivity as we're treating patients, and we're not necessarily beholden to the drug companies to make sure that a drug gets approved. And so I think there are quite a lot of rigorous safeguards in place to make sure that a clinical trial is being conducted in a fair way, and that the results that we get out of it are honest and transparent.